Hey everyone, my name is Wedge. Journey into Nyx has already made an impact on a ton of existing strategies and helped create new ones. Today's standard deck tech covers a strategy that has made a recent resurgence, if you will. Pretty proud of myself. Naya Aggro is exactly what it sounds like, a white-red-green deck that focuses on playing a ton of low-cost, high-quality creatures and bashing people's skulls in. Let's get started. The only card from Journey into Nyx in this deck is a playset of Mana Confluence. Don't let that discourage you. The rest of the deck is pretty colorful, especially the land base. In addition to the Confluence, we have 4 Sacred Foundry, 4 Stomping Ground, and 4 Temple Garden. Playsets of all on-color shock lands. Naya also runs 3 Temple of Plenty and 1 Temple of Abandon, finishing off the 22 land mana base with 2 planes. No Temple of Triumph. What a hater. Because aggro decks rely on playing a ton of creatures, having 26 of them in the main deck makes sense. At the bottom of the curve, we have a playset of Dryad Militant and 3 Soldier of the Pantheon. The Militant is just a quality creature. The ability does have its uses, there's no denying that, but it's a 2-1 for 1 that you can cast with either one of your primary colors. That has no drawback. It's auto-include. Soldier of the Pantheon, also 1 mana, also a 2-1, has multiple benefits. Not only does this dodge multicolored removal for the most part, but it also gains you life when your opponent plays Boros Charm trying to kill you. It's a versatile creature you get on the cheap. It's a perfect 1 mana target. Next up are the 2-drops. We start with a playset of Fleecemane Lion. 3 toughness is a big deal in standard right now. 2 mana for a 3/3 is great. Plus, for an aggro deck, his monstrosity is a good late-game mana sink, especially against strategies that rely on targeted removal. 4 Voice of Resurgence are here for the same reason they're in every green-white aggro deck. The value is disturbingly high. Super annoying against Burn, Control, Black Devotion, the list is pretty much endless. Want to talk about board stabilization? Voice is your guy. Moving right along, we have 4 Boros Reckoner. Again, it's all about quality and 3 toughness. The Reckoner survives most burn spells in the format right now. Sure, Lightning Strike is a thing, but it's nice to know that you get to hit them right back if they're brave enough to burn this guy down. 3 Loxodon Smiter. He's 3 mana for a 4/4 elephant that can't be countered. There's really nothing more to say, so I'll just repeat what I said, but in a more serious tone. 3 mana for a 4/4 that can't be countered. The last creature in the deck and the top of the curve is a playset of Ghor-Clan Rampager. To be fair, this guy won't get played that often for his actual casting cost. The value here is in his Blood Rush. 2 mana to discard him and make something gigantic and give it trample. Look at this card as an additional pump spell. It'll help remind you how you should play it. With 22 lands and 26 creatures out of the way, we're left with 12 spells. Playsets of Boros Charm, Brave the Elements, and Selesnya Charm support this already insanely aggressive strategy. Boros Charm couldn't be better for this deck. It can either go to the dome for 4 damage, protect your entire team against Supreme Verdict, or give something double strike that's already huge. Imagine putting this on a creature that just got blood rushed by Ghor-Clan Rampager. You're almost definitely talking double-digit damage for a total of 4 mana. Boros Charm is an all-star, the king of versatility. Never thought I'd see Brave the Elements in a truly 3-color deck, but here it is. Best part is that every single creature you play is white besides the Rampager, and as we've already talked about, you're never playing him. This spell, when put into the right deck, ends games. It's amazingly well positioned right now in a format filled with devotion strategies and a ton of removal. This both attacks and defends effectively for 1 mana. You just can't go wrong with that. The last card in the main is Selesnya Charm, another versatile card. The pump ability is great when paired with Boros Charm. The exiling effect is strong against monster variants, and if you're insanely aggressive, there's nothing wrong with creating a 2/2 knight to help you get the last bit of damage through. Again, versatility is the name of the game here. I get a lot of messages about why I don't include stock sideboards in these videos. I try not to do that anymore because the meta where you live is definitely not the same as the meta where someone else lives, or on Magic Online. I'd rather not steer you guys towards one set configuration. That's why I try to go over popular matchups and give general sideboard advice. I just don't want to lead you guys down the wrong road, okay? So let's talk matchups. Jund Monsters is still kicking. That's a mid-game to late-game deck. You're not. You have to hit fast and hard. Don't be afraid to use your pump spells to get through their coursers and caryatids. You have to keep their walls off the table. Keep in your Boros Charm, Selesnya Charms, and Ghor-Clans. I'd also consider sliding in some Mizzium Mortars. You are an aggro deck, but there will be a point where you need to clear their side of the board, especially if you don't have Brave the Elements up. The last thing I'll say about this is remember they don't have board sweeps. I don't count Pelucranos as monstrosity since it's so late game. If it gets to that point, you're probably already dead. Mizzium Mortars is annoying, but they won't necessarily have it main deck, and you do have Boros Charm and Brave the Elements to help. It's also 6 mana. By that point, with any luck, you already have them on the ropes. Mana Black Devotion, now cleverly hiding as Black-Green Devotion, splashing green for Abrupt Decay, is as big as ever. Lifebane Zombie kinda wrecks your day, and to be perfectly honest, unless Loxodon Smiter is the only creature in your hand, they're getting value. That aside, this should be a decent matchup for you. Their deck is much slower, plus most pilots don't run Drown in Sorrow in the main. Some do run it in the sideboards, that's a bit annoying, but even then it's not a playset, and you have things that can bring you back, which is why Dominate is perfect out of the board. This matchup should be very comfortable in that you're just slamming things all over the place, hoping to kill them really fast. The last matchup we'll talk about is Control, since it plays a little differently than the rest of your games. In the classic aggro versus control matchup, you have more of an advantage than normal thanks to Boros Charm basically saving your life single-handedly. Blue-white control decks beat aggro decks by playing Supreme Verdict. It's just how it goes. Being able to stop that from happening is kind of the best thing ever. If you aren't fortunate enough to have a Boros Charm before turn 4, you have no choice, you have to play aggressive, like the days of old. When there was no protection against board sweeps, you just attacked with everything and prayed. Without Boros Charm, you basically have to do that. When you're sideboarding against Control, there's a lot to move. You probably want some combination of Mistcutter Hydra and Skylasher on your sideboard. Bring all of them in. The creature to take out's probably Boros Reckoner. There won't be much for him to interact with, lowering his value. The other auto include against Control is Dominate. You need more cards, it's an obvious inclusion. If you're making this deck without a budget, he's worth getting even if he's just sideboard tech. What do you guys think? As far as aggressive decks go, this one's pretty solid. A lot of high quality creatures, a ton of protection for them, multiple ways to be super annoying. It's a fun time. It's worth trying out for sure. Let me know if any of you like it. As always, subscribe below for the latest and most reliable Magic the Gathering information you could ever need. This is the Mana Source, I'm Wedge, thanks for watching, we'll see you next time.